Hello and welcome to our channel, and as you can probably see, I am here by myself. The kids are home, they are upstairs, Austin's at work, but anyway, let's just get into this video. So in this video, I thought it would be really fun to go to the internet and see what are the most often asked questions of homeschool moms. And majority of people are not for it or don't do it. And so they ask questions to those of us that do. And so I'm going to respond and kind of answer these questions as I find them. So let's go. So the first question, and probably the most often asked question, is, well, aren't your kids going to be weird because they're not socializing? Okay. I've been in a classroom. I've been a teacher. And honestly, the only time that they truly socialize with one another is at lunch and during recess time. Teachers really don't want kids socializing during the day. They get in trouble because they're trying to talk, they're distracting, yada, yada, whatever. Now, my kids are very, very socialized. And it's also, what is your definition of weird? Like, I think everybody's weird. People that go to public school. I mean, I went to a private Christian school growing up, but I was weird. Everybody has their own version of weird. And so you can't just pop a one stick all label on weird because you met one homeschool family. And the other thing that I have to say too is, are you saying that they're weird because they actually enjoy each other as like a family? I think we a lot of times stick the label weird on things because it's not our normal or it's not what we do. But anyway, no, I'm not worried that my kids will not be socializing. We are a ministry family, so my kids spend 3 services in the kids ministry each weekend, Saturday night, 2 on Sunday. So they see a flood of different kids. They talk to them, adults, then all through the week, because they're homeschooled, if they're running errands with me or they're going here or there, they see how I talk and socialize with other adults. They see that they talk to people, sometimes. And then we also joined a co-op this year because as a homeschool mom, I needed community and I needed some like-minded, Jesus-loving moms that I could connect with. And so the co-op's been great. It is a all-day thing on us for Monday. And so they're around other kiddos. And trust me, if you've ever met my kids, they know how to talk and they know how to carry out a conversation. So no, not worried about that whatsoever. The second most often asked question that people ask homeschool moms is, why do you homeschool? And for everyone's gonna have their own answers to this, different answers. For me, it was, I was a teacher. So I feel like I have many reasons. So number one, I was a teacher and I saw how other teachers interacted with students that I wouldn't want someone interacting in that way with my child. So many teachers, and it's even like way more common now, that are teaching ideas and their own agendas to my children that do not match scripture and do not, no, like I wouldn't want my kids sitting underneath that, being taught that by another adult. No, I don't want any agenda. That's a lot of what school is somebody that's not even in a classroom, not even around these kids, is telling us what we should teach them and what's age appropriate. I don't really agree with a lot of that. So that is one reason why. And then I know that there are Christian schools, there are other, things that you can do. However, for me, when I was still teaching and I had to take my first child, my son, to the sitter every day, and it wasn't even daycare. I was very blessed to be able to take him into someone's home where she just watched, I think it was him and like 2 other babies in her home. I cried every day because I had this gut, this feeling that's like, why are you taking your child to somebody else, for somebody else to parent, discipline, teach wrong from right, feed them, nurture them, read to them, like do all of that? I felt like that should be me as his mom, as his parent, and I longed to do those things, and I cried. And that was even when he was a baby. Luckily though, I did start my own business and yada yada to be able to quit my job, stay at home at that time years ago. And so when he was 2, we were starting to do fun things at home. It's really playing, but learning at the same time. And so that's what I call it. We did unschooling. There was no worksheets or what you think school should be. It was completely custom made to him. And that's another thing is, if you have a child who needs to pump the brakes on learning something, or you have a child that's like, I can just keep going and they can do 3 lessons in a day because they just want to keep going. You have that freedom in homeschool. And I'm going to be real with you, especially here in Florida, in the public school system or any school, you've got 20, more than 20 nowadays in your classroom. And that teacher's telling you, yes, it's custom. Like, I'm going to work with each child and on their level and da da da. That is almost near impossible. You can try your best, and I tried my best. And they might get a second of your time, but you've got kids on all different levels. Like, I had a classroom where I had tons of people on different levels that could keep going or need to slow down. And the best thing I could do is break my class up into kind of 3 levels. Now, they did not know that, but the levels in which I gave them materials and things to do, a little bit harder, a medium, and then a little bit slower paced one. But here, like, if he wants to keep going with math lessons, we can keep going. If he needs to pump the brakes on something, we can pump the brakes. And also we get to interact, like, real world things, you guys. Like, there are kids who are graduating from high school and don't know how to scramble their own eggs. Oh man, it's, anyway, pancakes, you said we got to do it this morning. My kids helped me. They measured the ingredients. They did all that stuff. And it's so much fun. And they, are able to clean too. They know how to clean. They know how to, Tobias know how to clean his pee in the toilet. Not saying that he does it all the time. But when I ask him to, he knows how much spray to use, where to do that, how to wipe, all that stuff. So, and then of course, we work in so much discipleship and pouring into them and knowing who God is and catechizing them. And just, if you don't know what catechisms are, you should look that up. It's really just a question and answer type thing. So like you ask a question like, who is God? And they can answer. But it's all based on scripture and what scripture says and defines those things. So yeah, are there times where homeschool is difficult? You bet your dollar. But there's a lot of gloriousness to it as well. Okay, so another third, often most asked question is, do your kids have problems? I hate this question, honestly. Please don't ever ask this to a homeschool mother. Everyone, like I said before, everyone has their own reasons. And if their reason is that, they do have some type of disability or just something that maybe they think that maybe the classroom's not the best place, whatever it is, that can be a reason. But there's a million other reasons too why we choose homeschool. Family bonding, getting to go on trips whenever we want and making that a part of our learning. Another big thing for me is just like, in scripture, we see that our children are like quivers, and we're going to send them out as arrows into the world. You know, what are you sending out into the world? And we want to equip them for the world. And just because we teach God and creation and the Bible in this household doesn't mean that they're not going to be ready for the world when other people question it. We talk about that stuff. We talk about the world and what's wrong with the world and things that, you know, that's age appropriate for them, things that they might hear or say, to the point, you know, especially like if we're watching something educational one day on, you know, learning about an animal or something like that, and we're watching a video, they understand that they can't just take the remote if I'm not here and just do whatever they want, because I've told them there are things on there that's not God honoring, that God would not want you to see, God would not want you to watch, doesn't want me to watch. That's why we don't have Netflix, we don't have Disney Plus, we don't have those things. And so, yeah, that's not always the thing, is just because a kid has a problem is why you would choose to homeschool. So no. And I also want to end this video with this. 2 things. Number 1 is I am in no way, shape, or form shaming anyone who chooses to do public school or take their kids to school or anything like that. You choose what is best for your family and what you can make work. I get it. There was a time too where my husband and I were both working full-time jobs, and at that point in time, it wouldn't have worked for us, obviously, because we're here. But I felt the calling to do that, and so I took steps into creating a virtual assistant business that I could do from home and to make that work. I don't do that anymore. I'm able to work part-time at our church, but at that point, that's what worked for us. And number 2, if you're thinking of homeschooling and you have questions or whatever, comment down below or find us on Instagram at The Struggles We Grow From Podcast. I answer every message that we get. I would love to help point you in any direction that you need or answer any questions for you. All right, friends, have a great day. God bless.